So guys, this is our fifth video. Okay, and in this video, we are going to create the index file, right, along with the servlet and JSP. So index, like the JSP file, we are going to create JSP index file, login and registration. Okay, like the register. And for the same, we require these two servlet as well. So like I'm just going to create servlet. So these two will be the servlet, right? So first of all, let me create that files. So I'll just go to this. Okay, and we can create first the JSP. So I'll just right click new and then let me type J. That will redirect me to JSP file. So we can add some CSS later. Initially, I'll just go with this index.jsp. All right. Now in this index.jsp, first of all, see index ideally can display your product and all, so that we can go with the uh, ahref tag so that we can define later. So first of all, let me create for the user. Like see, I'll have the user control space user equals to, let me fetch the attribute session dot get attribute. So that thing should be set. Session should be imported control space get. Ideally, it should be fetched attribute. And now let me create attribute for the user. So that should be fetched somewhere from the user class. It should be typecast to the type of user. Now, once again, the user control S. Okay. Now, if user is not null, okay, so we just need to define user does not equals to null. There we are just going to identify the login. If user is not equal to null, so what we can do, let me just close this JSP there. Okay, let me open Java again. And there we can provide a tab of ahref equals to logout. Okay, it means we require a logout as well. So logout.jsp. Okay, and there we can define that logout. So what it gives you, see, if user is not null, so we can find a page related to the logout, the tab related to the logout, and that will redirect the logout tab. Okay, now in this, what we can do, we can define user dot get name. So there we are just going to fetch the user dot get name, and in this, if it's closed, right? So if we can close somewhere, what I can do, I can provide a tab to close if. Okay, and then there we can go with the else, right? So in this else is closed. Yes. Now in this else, what we can do, we can, if user is not null, so we need to provide a login page. So what I'll do, I'll just copy and paste this. Let me close this JSP. Let me open JSP again. Let me remove this tag, and there we can provide a login.jsp. So this will be for the login. So ideally what happened if user is not null. Okay, so we can set the attribute of a user in this variable, and that we are going to fetch on another page with this session. Okay, so if user is not login, so we need to force the user to get login, right? So that we need to check. I think this page looks good. All right, now what we can do, we can create another page. So see, we need to add couple of CSS, so that I can add later. Now I required a register page. First of all, we need to provide a register. So I'll just go with register.jsp. Okay, and in this registration, ideally what we required couple of fields. So let me go with those fields. Okay, so first we require the name. So let me just go with the name input control space type equals to text, and the name should be equals to name, right? So these are the field which is used to fetch the data. You can go with the required tag if you want. Okay, I'm not going with the required. If you want to add required, so you can add required equals to required like this. Once again, no, not read only. Required equals to required. All right. So name is done. After name, we require the email, then password, and then we require a button. So I'll just go with input type equals to submit. Okay, and we can define the value equals to register. Now what happens? See, when we are going to click this button, that button should redirect the value to the respective sublet. Let me just go with the email. Okay, type should be the email, and this should also be the email. Now next we require the password. So let me just go with the password. This should also be the, let me copy this. Copy, paste, paste. Now we require a form tag. Okay. So what form tag does, once again, form tag provide it, let me close it after this page. Form tag will redirect it to respective sublet. So register sublet, the sublet we required, and we'll just go with a method equals to post. Now see what happened. When we'll click on this register option, so it will redirect me to the register sublet. Okay, if we have that user is registered, so we can directly go to the login. It means we require the login as well. So let me create another JSP file that is login. And what I'll do, I'll just copy everything from there. Okay, because login only required two things, email and the password. So let me remove this. Rest things are fine. You can provide a password, a confirm password tab for checking that we can check later. Okay, login sublet. Couple of things we can add there in this project. Okay, now we require these two sublet, login sublet and the register sublet. So what I'll do, let me right click new, create a sublet file. So for that, I required a package with the name sublet, login sublet. Okay, and then, okay, we are getting some error. So let me fix those error. New sublet, this should be the register sublet. No, package name should be the sublet, and we'll have the register sublet. Guys, couple of points which you need to notice when we are creating a sublet that providing us a URL. So that URL should be exact in this file. Okay, let me show you this. This should be correct. Otherwise, the file will not read. Now what I require, see, we are getting error on multiple JSP pages. So what I can do, let me right click on my project. I'll just go to properties. In this, I'll have a targeted runtime. So there we can select the existing server and let me click on apply. So that will going to provide the respective server, okay, to this project. Looks good. Now you can say we are not getting, see, we are not getting any error. Okay. Now in these files, you can see that should be removed. Now let me run this file. Right click, run on server. Okay, it is asking for the server. Let me click on finish. And one more changes the web browser. What I'll do, Windows, once again, Windows web browser. Let me go with the internal. Yeah, so that is internal. It will redirect me to this respective page. Looks good. Now we need to provide the sublet definition. Okay, so first of all, we need to register a user. So yes, that page is opening. There you can see when I'll click on the register, the field is required. Of course, we had provide a required tag. Now it is redirecting me to the register sublet. So what I'll do, let me go back to this sublet. Whatever code we're supposed to write, that we are going to write in this to get. Why? Because post method is calling this get method. Now there we require a string name. First of all, we need to register user, and let me stop the server. Otherwise, server will execute every time. It's sublet. Okay. Now we require the request dot get parameter. Request is what? Request is the reference of this HTTP sublet request. So it will fetch name first of all. Okay. Second, we require the password. Then we require the email. So I'll just change this to password, and I can change this to PWD, anything. This should be the email. I'll just change this to email as well. Now we already have the same, the definition is already provided in DAO file. right? So now let me create a user, control space, user equals to new control space. Now you can see we already have this in the model, user with the name, email, and password. So it should be fetched. It should be the PWT, right? So we'll have all those fields. Okay, now we need to call the DAO file. If user, once again, user DAO dot register. So let me register the respective user. If user is registered, then what happened? It will redirect me to the login file. So I'll just go with response dot send redirect to which file? Login dot JSP. Perfect. Else, in else case, you can come back to this file again. Once again, you can come back to this file. Let me copy and paste. It should be register. REGISTR, register, along with an error. So what is that error? So that error equals to, I'll just provide a message, registration failed. Okay, with this message that will prompt back. Okay, so this is my register user. So with the help of that, user can register themselves. Now we require the login sublet. So what I'll do, for login, we require these two fields. So let me copy these two fields and paste it there. Why? Because these two fields name are same in both sublet. Okay. Now what we require, uh, we'll have a user. First of all, let me create a user, control space user equals to user DAO. We already defined them, dot login user. Okay. So that login user required an email and password. So okay. So now we need to check if user does not equals to null. So we need to check that user is null or not. So if user is not null, so what we can do? We can set a session, HTTP session, control space, session equals to request dot get session. So once again, get session. So that helps user to create the respective session, and that session attribute we can set for the user, which is used to fetch to the index page. Okay, that we had done earlier. So user dot set attribute. So I'll just go with this name, that is user, and then again the user. If you remember, so that same name we are fetching on index page. Okay, and now let me redirect to response dot send. Once again, it should be send redirect to products. Second, products.jsp. So we must have products.jsp. I ideally don't have that file. Else we can redirect back to the login. So I'll just copy and then paste. So it should be the login.jsp. All right. So now we'll have this page. So let me register a new user. So that is new. So new at the rate of gmail.com and 1234. When I'll click register, so you can see that browser is running and whatever error. So register sublet a page was one second. Server is not running. That's why we are getting this error. So what we can do, we can run the server again. Let me check, finish. So server is starting. Suggestible, if you're performing any changes on servlet, your server should be start every time. All right. Now that is redirecting. Okay, so login ideally we don't want. We want register. So REGISTR register. One second. GIS spelling should be correct. What is the file name? Okay, R is capital. Okay. Now I'll just go with the name that is new. new at the rate of gmail.com, and then password is 1234. Let me click on register. I can see it is redirecting to this page. So I think the mail ID is new at the rate of gmail.com and password is 1234. The page is registered. No problem. So that we can change. Now you can see it is redirecting us to product.jsp. It means the login works fine, registration works fine. Right. So that's it for this video. In next video, we'll work with the product files. Thank you.